Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Girls Night Live. We are so happy that you're here with us today. We are thrilled today to feature Serena Kumara. She's an intuitive mentor, the founder of the Milk and Honey Project, and through her organization, she supports her clients in connecting with their most authentic selves. So this is very exciting. We can all use this right about now, Serena. So live from Dallas, Texas, welcome to Girls Night Live, Serena.
Hi. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I am so excited to be here. I would love to just, if you can drop in the chat to see where you guys are coming from. I just want to know who I'm connecting to, and then we can get started. I'll tell you a little bit more about who I am and why this is something that is really important for me and why I love doing these. Let's see what we got. All right. We've got Minnesota, Norfolk, Nebraska, Dallas, Florida. Welcome, y'all. Thank you so much for coming. All right, so let me share with you my screen, and then I will share a bit about me. So as you guys know, my name is Serena. I am an intuitive mentor, and I'm the founder of the Milk and Honey Project. So essentially what I do is I create soul-centered work to help women to connect with themselves and push past the beliefs that hold us back. So there's so much about who we are that's given to us from outside of us that sometimes we don't even know what's true for us, right? And so that reconnection with ourselves is really where walking in your bliss and living your best life really does start. This business started when I was doing my year of whatever I want. So what that really means is that I woke up one day and I recognized I was moving and creating a life that I thought I was supposed to create. And it had nothing to do with me. And it wasn't keeping me from getting my feelings hurt. And so I just decided to make getting to know myself a second full-time job. And that year of whatever I want turns into about 4.5 years of whatever I want. And so that's part of why I'm here today with you. And I also am a lover of ceremonial acts of self-love. So I love making a really big deal out of caring for yourself and getting to know yourself, again, because that is how we can recognize what we want. Oh, maybe I should move this. All right. So let's talk a little bit about writing and cathartic writing, release rituals, because that's what we're here to do today. So we know that journaling is something that is used for lots of reasons, right? It's good for setting our goals and tracking our progress. It's good for gaining clarity, right? Self-reflection, reflecting on the events of the day. Sometimes we will journal our dreams, but it's also really good for processing our emotions and our feelings. Now, a release ritual is any activity that you do that can help you to face your experience, really feel how they're affecting you, and take back your power in a symbolic way. So you guys may have seen something where people will write something down on a piece of paper and then they'll set it on fire and then they'll give it back to the universe. Or one of the things on TikTok now is people that I love is people like writing things on plates and breaking them up. These are examples of release rituals. They don't always require, a lot of tools. Sometimes it's just going out into an open field and screaming or whatever. So these are really good because we got to get it out. Right? Whether or not we share the feelings, they have to go somewhere. And I would rather it be outside than inside of me, right? And so writing for release, which is also called cathartic writing, some people call it automatic writing, is the combination of both of those things. So it's about getting out of your mind and into your body so that you can do the facing of things and the feeling so it can be free. And so that is what we are talking about today. I have experienced the value and the transformation of sometimes when you just let it out, how it can just feel better. So let's talk about what you will need because this is a deeply personal experience. We're just going to be talking through it because this is something that you're going to want to do on your own. And so what you will need when you get ready, the first thing you need is paper. Loose paper is preferred because we're not going to be holding on to what we're letting go of. A watercolor marker is best. when you're participating in the submerging activity. However, if you are going to keep it, then you can just use any kind of pen or pencil. And you will also need a bowl of water. So this is where we are doing the releasing, right? And then the environment is so important. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that environment will look like for me and help you to consider what are some things you can add to yours, what's necessary for you, because each of us is different. So the first step is that centering yourself, right? That's where that environment comes in. You want to consider the space you're in. Is it a quiet space? Is it a private space? Is it peaceful for you, right? So often we live in spaces where getting privacy can be tough. This is a great opportunity to take your pen and your bowl of water and your paper outside. I love doing a release ritual outside. It just allows you to be a little bit freer and you can experience like the peace that comes with the elements. The next thing you want to consider is the time you give yourself. So there is no set time period. I myself, because I told y'all I love a big ceremonial act of self-love, I love to give myself at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. Do I use that whole time? No, but I'm not going to rush myself because we know the pressure that comes when you need to rush. You want to give yourself uninterrupted time and set the expectation if there are other people around, like, hey, I'm going to need this time to myself. And again, if you can't do that, that might be an opportunity to go somewhere else. And you also want to do what you need to do to connect with yourself. So for some people, that's meditation. For other people, it's just a moment of silence. Sometimes it's breath work, whatever you need to do to connect with yourself and set the intention that I want to really be in my body for this experience. I want to really be able to connect with my feelings that are holding me down or holding me back so that I can let them go. That is all part of just setting the scene for centering yourself. Next, and also if you have any questions that come up, please drop them in the chat. I will be able to look at them once we're all done. The next step is to make that decision about what you are releasing. So sometimes we go into a release ritual knowing like, I need to let go of this thing that happened to me. Like, I know that that's holding me back. But sometimes we just feel icky and we don't know what it's attached to. And that is where cathartic writing is so helpful, because even if you don't know when you start writing, I bet you'll know when you're done what exactly was going on for you. So you'll consider like, well, what was the trigger, right? Think about maybe it's something that you are ruminating on or something that's just getting the best of you. When you think about the feeling you're having before you know exactly what you're releasing, this will help to clear it up for you. And once you get clear on what it might be, that is the first thing you write. So you're going to write that on your paper, the top of your paper. It's up to you how much you write. You can write a couple of words because it's only to you, right? It's not a letter to anybody else. It's just for you to understand what you're talking about. But if it's cathartic for you to write down the whole experience, you could do that as well. And then we are going to do my favorite thing. You're going to feel it, sit in it, really feel what has happened for you. And it's not necessarily about steps where, okay, well, now I've decided what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to feel. Now I'm going to write. Whenever it happens for you, it's a flow. It's you being in your body. So these are some of the feelings that may come up for you. It could be anger. It could be fear. It could be anxiety, sadness, confusion. Allow yourself to let these feelings come up for you so that you can let them out. On the FU letter. Now, whatever your version of this phrase, whatever works for you, I encourage you to use it, but FU very much resonates with my spirit. And so that is why that's the way that it's titled. So you're going to write dear, whatever. We know that when we have issues and conflicts and we're hurt, it is more than often than not, an experience we have with another person. So you can write to that person, you can address it to the experience itself, but this is your opportunity to really express yourself without considering how somebody else is going to feel, because they're not going to read it, right? This is your opportunity to not judge yourself for, am I overreacting or is this too much? This is your opportunity to say, this is how I feel. Whether I'm going to tell somebody about it tomorrow is irrelevant. This is living inside of me and it needs to get out. So we start with your version of the FU, and it could be forget you, whatever you want. And then you say, you would write for whatever it is that happened. So it's not necessarily about looking at it from all sides. It's about what you experienced. Forget you for cutting me off and stealing my parking spot because that felt like blah, 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 whatever it is for you and how it made you feel. That is really what's important, is for you to put that on that paper to feel it. Because what I find more often than not is we get so busy judging ourselves for what we feel that we don't even get an opportunity to express it. I also would like to add, y'all, that this is not like a revenge letter or a revenge plot or anything like that. It's not, it doesn't make you a bad person to be like, I'm really mad about this. And I don't care if you think it's a big deal. And I'm looking for this for myself. And so you're going to sit, you're going to write until you can't write no more, until you feel like you're done. Some of the things that I do to set the scene and to support myself in that is music, right? There might be music that helps you to process. If you start to get activated emotionally, you might just allow the tears to fall down, or if you want to scream into a pillow, you do that. All the things you need to do in this setting. And once you have gotten all of your feelings out and you are ready, that is when we will submerge the paper in water. And what I really want to highlight is that if you look at this bowl, the paper is still intact, but the words are being removed from there. One of the reasons why this is my favorite type of a release is because when you think about water, it's calming, it's cooling, it washes things away. And when something is already hot like fire within yourself, using that water can be super helpful to be symbolically calming in that, because elements do mean things. And so when we burn something, sometimes it's like fire with fire sort of thing. And so that's why using this water to wash it away is so helpful. And as you do it, you're going to say something along the lines of, all these feelings are valid. And, make mention that you're taking your power back and you release these feelings, because that's you saying, it's okay that I felt that way. There's nothing wrong with that. But now I choose to be free. And you will sit with that for as long as you need to sit with that. You will feel it however you want to feel it. It's the extended time that you need. That's the thing that I keep kind of honing in on, is whatever you need. And then once you feel like, okay, I'm done with that, or all right, I'm ready to move on to the next step, this is where we move to our second prompt. So this is when we think about reframing, right? So this is when we acknowledge ourselves. I really think that it is so important for us to acknowledge when we do something that is in the best interest of ourselves, when we do something good. Because if we make a mistake, we're going to focus on that. And it's important to remember that you could always choose to stay stuck. So even if it's you releasing something that you did, the choice to acknowledge it is a great thing. And so you can acknowledge a lesson you learned, because again, you always have the choice to stay stuck and not learn a lesson. Any action that you took from that, think about, is there something that you did that you feel really proud of, especially in handling this situation? Was there a new perspective that you gained? Did you see yourself a little differently? Did you gain a different perspective on the world or the way that we show up in it? And is there now a new circumstance, right? Do you now have new friends? Do you live somewhere different just as a result of whatever you are releasing and how you chose to handle it? Because you always have a choice. And I want to just acknowledge you for even being in this workshop, because again, you could have chose something differently. And then we are going to write our thank me letter. Okay, because we're celebrating ourselves to the max. So you're going to just write dear and your name. Thank you for anything good that you think that you did. And I want you to like max out on compliments to yourself. Did you overcome it? Did you escape it? Do you want to acknowledge yourself for not cussing somebody out when you could have? Anything that remotely feels like this is a good thing that I did, I want you to write that to yourself. And then you're going to write, I honor your, was it power that you showed? Was it strength? Was it resilience? Was it love? You know, was it trust? What did you show yourself? You're going to write that again until you cannot write anymore. And then you have a choice. You can either keep this as a reminder and you will know which is better for you, or you can also submerge this in the water. And the idea with that is that the words that were on this paper are now overtaking the words that were on the other paper to neutralize them. Okay, we had that pain, but this is what came from it, and that is more powerful. And so that is your choice. Just like with everything else that was mentioned here, you have all the choices to decide how long it's going to take. You can also decide, you know what, I don't want to do this all on the same night. I don't feel all the way settled yet. I will do this, the thank me letter tomorrow. That's always up to you. Some things that I want you guys to remember as you do this is that this is just for you. So you don't have to worry about anybody reading your paper. Write what's on your heart. The other thing is we don't want to judge ourselves, right? And so don't stop yourself from being transparent with yourself because you're judging you. The other piece that I've said it so many times is you know exactly what you need. Personalize this process to what feels right. You may decide, girl, that's a lot of steps. I don't need all them steps. I just need to write it down real quick and I could be done. That's fine. You may feel like, you know what? I need to do this with a whole ambiance in a hotel room. Whatever works for you, you can go ahead and do that because you know what you need. The next thing is to repeat the process as necessary. This is not a magical pill, right? It is a helpful way to process, and it's a tool to put in your healing toolkit. And I have had situations where I have done a release and I felt a little better, but I'm like, I need to do another one. And I have done multiple ceremonies for multiple things because that was what was necessary. It just kind of, it goes that way sometimes. And then the last one is ask for help if you need it. So one of the things that is true about cathartic writing and journaling in general is that you will gain more understanding of what is happening for you. And sometimes what comes up is the realization that you're affected a little bit more than you knew you were about something, or it ties to an issue that is bigger than you thought it was. And if you gain awareness that therapy might be valuable, or reaching out to another healing professional or a trusted advisor is helpful to you, please do that. That is one of the gifts that this offers us. So I wanted to see let's finish this up because I can't read the chat. And the last thing I will share with you guys is how to care for yourself once you're done with this process, especially the first time. A lot of times people are surprised about how, transformational and powerful these can be. We want to remember to be gentle with ourselves, right? Like it can be, depending on what you're facing, it can be a very heavy thing. And you want to be gentle with yourself to support the good that you are inviting in with the release. You want to do what feels good. So you want to eat the foods that nourish you and also feel good. And, you want to watch a feel-good movie or a show, take a bath, all these things. What you want to do is avoid things that are harsh or don't feel good to you. And so that is really important for a little while after this, because you are a little vulnerable, you are a little open. And so that is something that is really important to support yourself afterwards. So I'm going to stop sharing to see if there are any questions. Let's see. There's one. All right. So we've got some comments, very picky with the paper and type of pen you use from Diane. I'm wondering if that's just in general or if there's for release. Let's see. How Amy from Facebook said, how did you learn about all of this? So I just did a deep dive into what felt good to me. I was reconnecting with just my natural roots. And I started learning about ways to heal myself. So some natural ways, some ancestral things that we did. And I just deep dive into a bunch of different classes. That's really, it was just a ton of research and just trying new things, which is what I always tell people, just try something and you'll find yourself where you need to be. Judy from Facebook asks, do you ever work with people one-on-one to get through this? Yes, I do. I do offer a one-on-one guided release. I can do it virtually, or if you're in DFW, we can do it together physically. And so that one is very different because I get a very specific divine instruction on how to help you through the release, and that's customized for you. Lauren Barnes said, this was very helpful. Thank you for this information. Thanks, Lauren. Oh, a homemade paper and calligraphy pen. That's pretty cool. A question from Lauren is, does it get easier to do over time? So if we define easier, I think it's easier for you to recognize what you need to do. I think you get to know yourself a little bit better over time. But life has ebbs and flows. So, we've got feelings that we have to process, and the processing of feelings just isn't easy in general. And so Joselle said, could you repeat what type of pen to use? So I use a watercolor marker, and Diane O'Hara uses a calligraphy pen. And I bet you that would wash away too because of the type of ink that is. I'm going to see if there are any more questions. Okay, it doesn't look like it. Oh, thank you. This now gives me direction to my journaling. Well, I am so glad it helped. Thank you for being here. All right, let me just. Did I stop sharing my screen? Okay. Let me share my screen again. Oh, a fire ritual. I love it. And will you be sending your PowerPoint out after the event? Is that a thing that y'all do? I don't mind doing that.
I think we have a copy of it. And if you're comfortable with it, we can send it out. That's up to you.
Yes. Yeah, that works for me. All right. So let me go ahead and just give you guys some information on how to keep up with me, because I would love to hear from you guys. So you guys can reach me at my website is milkandhoneyproject.com. You can see some of the things that I offer. You can book that release session, that one-on-one release session if you're looking forward to it. That's also a great way to keep up with what's going on, because there's a whole lot of new things coming for the Milk and Honey Project, new classes that are coming. Events that are coming up, and the honeybees, which is what I call the ladies that allow me to work with them, will be the first to know. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Milk and Honey PRJCT. The vowels are dropped. I am so grateful for you guys' time. I want to thank Girls Night Live for having me, and you guys have a great one.